We're going to begin with Brooke Grimsley. Brooke, I think it's fair to say no one saw this coming.
Yeah, Corey, this is a stunning announcement from the Cardinals, and it comes just 8 days after their season came to an end. President of baseball operations for the Cardinals, MOZELIAK, announcing that they have parted ways with manager Mike Shildt, a move so surprising that even Shildt was very shocked, according to MOZELIAK. This afternoon, the Cardinals held a surprise press conference via Zoom to announce that the organization and Mike Shildt have parted ways. Now, I say surprise because there was really no indication that this announcement would be happening since becoming the manager of the Cardinals back during the summer of 2018. Shildt has led the Redbirds to the playoffs 3 straight years, including a historic run this past season where the Cards won 17 straight games, clinching a playoff berth. Shildt only had 1 year left on his contract.
This is not a reflection simply on wins and losses, right? It's not simply a question of were you happy with how the game was managed. It really was more at a higher level of where we saw the team going and where we wanted it to go.
Coming up in sports, we're going to take a look at Shildt's rise and eventual fall within the Cardinals organization. But now I want to send things over to Brian Kennedy outside of Busch Stadium. He's getting reaction from fans on the firing. Brian, what are people saying?
Brooke, this incredible, shocking changeup.
Yeah, guys, the Cardinals surprising the baseball world today by announcing that manager Mike Shildt is done. The president of baseball operations for the Cardinals, MOZELIAK, cited philosophical differences for the reason why they are parting ways. The Cardinals held a surprise Zoom press conference this afternoon, announcing that they let Mike Shildt know this morning that his time with the organization is done. This news was so surprising that MOZELIAK said that Shildt was, quote, very shocked. Shildt has been the manager of the Cardinals since 2018, guiding the Redbirds to the playoffs for 3 consecutive years. 2022 would have been the final year of his contract. But in the words of MOZELIAK, they wanted to cut the cord before that. The Cardinals wouldn't specify what the philosophical reasons were, but stated that it was just time to move in a different direction.
What do we want to most look like? And what do we want, how do we want that to be run? And so rather than for us to sort of debate or talk about these details, again, want the very best for Mike Shildt moving forward, whatever should happen with his career. But ultimately, the decisions that both Bill and myself and some others came to was what we want to do and where we want to go. We needed to go a different way.
Paige and Corey, this was such a surprise that many were speculating that maybe something happened that was related to off-the-field issues. But MOZELIAK said that this was a baseball decision. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll take a look at what the Cardinals' next move could be and the fans' reaction.
There's a lot of organic reasons for things over time, but I would say over the last 5-6 days, it was something that came to a head.
Well, just a few weeks ago, the president of baseball operations for the Cardinals, MOZELIAK, and Mike Shildt were popping champagne bottles together, celebrating the Redbirds' 3rd straight trip to the postseason. Fast forward to today, Shildt received a phone call from MOZELIAK saying that his time with the organization is done. Less than 10 days after the Cardinals season came to a close in the wild-card game against the Dodgers, Shildt returned to his home in North Carolina and received a phone call that shocked even him, according to MOZELIAK. During a Zoom press conference today, MOZELIAK stated that they decided to part ways due to philosophical differences. If you were hoping for more of an explanation of what he means by that, I'm sorry to tell you that he really wouldn't elaborate, but I think that the Cardinals chairman, Bill DeWitt Jr., had a more telling answer via the Zoom today on what went wrong.
This is based on, differences between Mo and his group and the manager, and it's, didn't have anything to do with this year, and this is a decision that everybody bought into.
It's not simply a question of were you happy with how the game was managed. It really was more at a higher level of where we saw the team going and where we wanted it to go.
So now begins the rumor mill of who will be named the next manager of the Cardinals. MOZELIAK dropping a few clues, saying that the team will be chasing someone with success or someone familiar with what we have. It's also worth noting that he expects the rest of the coaching staff to return and that they have some internal candidates. So let's talk about them. Stubby Clapp and Ollie Marmol have been the two names getting the most attention, but I personally like to think of Skip Schumacher returning to St. Louis. I don't really see Mark McGwire as a viable candidate. He's taken a little bit of a break from the baseball world, focusing on his children. Well, the Cardinals actually had to get special permission from Major League Baseball about this announcement today because of this game, which is going on right now. And guys, right now the score is tied 1-1, bottom of the 6th.